everyone, it's Zhao from Blockchain DXB, and today is the 2nd of Jan 2023. And guys, the price of Bitcoin is definitely heading towards the moon. As of now, guys, while I'm recording this podcast, it is at $44,900. But I wouldn't be surprised. In the next few hours, it would actually surpass the $45,000 mark. And guys, listen, as and when the price reaches a new all-time high for this particular year, I'm pretty much sure people are going to go ahead and start dumping a lot of the Bitcoin. So in today's episode, we'll definitely go ahead and discuss this. Now, the reason why I feel that, guys, is if you look at the volumes of DeFi, it is absolutely ridiculous. It is definitely not looking good, considering the fact that the price of Bitcoin is definitely heading towards the moon. And because of that, I have this very strong feeling that after a few hours, maybe after 6 or 7 hours or by tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised if the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies marginally tends to go down. But what has happened, guys, is because of the hike in the price of Bitcoin, the shares of two Bitcoin companies, that is MicroStrategy and CoinShares, have also pumped up. So in today's episode, we'll definitely go ahead and discuss this. Now look, guys, there's only one reason why the price is increasing, and that is because of Bitcoin Spot ETF, isn't it? Now there is some update, guys, regarding Bitcoin Spot ETF, and Eric Balkanis, who I've mentioned several times in my Crypto and Coffee Date podcast, he has posted something really strange regarding Grayscale's Bitcoin Spot ETF, and it is a bit strange that they do not have an associated partner. So in today's episode, I'll definitely go ahead and touch base on that. Now, does this mean that the Bitcoin Spot ETF may not be approved? Most likely yes, but we'll just have to wait and see. And guys, listen, what I tend to do in my Crypto and Coffee Date podcast is, before I read out the price of Bitcoin and the top 3 cryptocurrencies, I tend to break down every protocol in it. But what I'm going to be doing today is, I'm going to go ahead and explain what a Bitcoin Spot ETF is, what are the pros, what are the cons, and quite a lot of other. So if you do want to listen to that part, I'll go ahead and explain what an ETF is, what a Bitcoin Spot ETF is, before I go ahead and read out the price of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. Now, unfortunately, guys, as the price of Bitcoin is increasing, there is a minor hack that has actually taken place, and that is to do with Orbit chain, and the hacker has stolen well over $80 million. So in today's episode, we'll very briefly touch base on that. And guys, listen, 2023 has been one of the worst years of Binance, isn't it? And there is some update regarding CZ, the former CEO and founder of Binance, and unfortunately he's been denied to leave the United States of America. So we'll definitely go ahead and touch base on that news. And guys, listen, 2022, the second half of the year was all about Sam Bankman-Fried, isn't it? And as we know, guys, in the last quarter of 2023, Sam Bankman-Fried was proven guilty. But listen, guys, there were 2 trials that were supposed to take place. The first trial, he's found guilty, but there is a really important update regarding the second trial, and most likely the second trial may not happen. So that is the update I'll go ahead and discuss in today's episode. And look, guys, 2023, I've not been seeing any news regarding Metaverse, but since the last week, I'm seeing quite a lot of news regarding Metaverse from UAE. So when we cover 2 news from UAE, both the news surprisingly has to do with Metaverse, and the first news has to do with DEWA, that is Dubai Electricity and Water Authority, and they are elevating clean energy leadership with Metaverse innovation. So I'll definitely go ahead and touch base what that news is, and it's going to be really interesting to see how Metaverse does actually connect with this news. And the second news, guys, is more to do with investment, and Mada Capital in the UAE is investing in growth fund for global Web3 Metaverse platform called as Creta's ecosystem, and they're focusing on expansion. So in today's episode, I'll definitely go and elaborate more on that news. So quite a lot to cover, guys, in today's episode. So let's kickstart with it right away. Welcome to the Crypto and Coffee Date, the daily podcast that keeps you up to date on all latest developments in the world of cryptocurrencies, blockchain, and NFTs. Join us Monday to Friday as you kick off your day with a cup of coffee and a deep dive into the exciting and rapidly evolving world of digital assets. We'll cover the latest news and trends in the cryptocurrency and blockchain space, as well as delve into the growing world of NFTs or non-fungible tokens and Metaverse. Plus, we'll keep you updated on the latest developments from Dubai, UAE, and the wider Middle East region. Whether you're a seasoned crypto enthusiast or just getting started, Crypto and Coffee Date has something for you. Our expert host will provide insight and analysis on the most important topics in the industry and help you stay up to date on the latest developments. We'll bring you interviews with leading figures in the crypto and blockchain space and explore the ways in which these technologies are changing the world around us, from the impact on traditional financial systems to the potential for revolutionizing industries and transforming societies. We'll cover it all on Crypto and Coffee at 8. So tune in and join us for a daily dose of Crypto and Coffee at 8, and let's stay ahead of the curve together. We'll start your day off right with the most important news and insights from the world of cryptocurrency, blockchain and the metaverse, and help you navigate this exciting and rapidly evolving landscape. In Crypto and Coffee a Day, the daily podcast covers the latest developments in the world of cryptocurrency, blockchain and the metaverse. We'll also bring you updates on the latest news from Dubai, UAE and wider Middle East region. This also includes a range of topics such as developments in the local and blockchain industry, including new projects and initiatives, regulatory updates, and policies related to cryptocurrency and blockchain in the region, local and regional events and conferences focused on crypto and blockchain, interviews with leading figures in Dubai, UAE and Middle East crypto and blockchain community, coverage of any significant news or events related to cryptocurrency and blockchain in the region. By covering these local and regional developments, in addition to the wider world of cryptocurrency and blockchain, Crypto and Coffee at 8 aims to provide a comprehensive overview of the industry and its impact on the Dubai, UAE and Middle East region. Now before we kickstart today's episode, I have an important message, so check this out. Thank you to our sponsors for being part of the blockchain DXB journey. Firstly, Advanced Media. Advanced Media Guys is the largest distributor of professional video, photo, broadcast and cinematic equipment and accessories in the Middle East and MENA region. With over 2 decades of experience, Advanced Media is now the largest distributor in the Middle East, representing more than 100 recognizable brands, including brands such as Zeiss, DJI, Hasselblad, Red and Rode. As a matter of fact, guys, the very mic that I'm recording is being sponsored by Advanced Media as well, and Advanced Media has showrooms in Saudi Arabia and services as well. Looks like they're definitely taking the Middle East by storm. And here's the beautiful thing, guys, they're taking corporate social responsibility very seriously, and they're focusing on 3 P's, that is people, planet and prosperity. Now listen, guys, if you do want to find out more information regarding the statement of corporate social responsibility, check out the website, that is www.amt.tv. And here's the beautiful thing, guys, they also want to be a leader and set an example and reputation as a pioneer and member of the community. And in doing so, guys, they also have an AMT scholarship with SAE Institute in Dubai, UAE, so definitely check it out. And also, guys, Advanced Media is committed to persistently developing, organizing and hosting training workshops, seminars and community events that educate, inform and familiarize consumers with new equipment and the latest technological advances. So listen, guys, do one thing. If you do want to support this channel, go to the website, that is www.amt.tv, and follow the social media channels as well. All of the details are in the show notes below. Next, Startup OI is global one-tech platform for tech. It offers global high-paying tech jobs with flexibility in working time and location, global free tech events, and tech networks to connect with global like-minded engineers. A brilliant platform to listen to the tech experts in metaverse and to grab their insights. Now listen, all you have to do is download the app Startup OI. If you're using an Android version, go to Google Store and App Store for iOS devices. Alternatively, you can also click on the show notes below to download Startup OI. Next, guys, listen, if you're into fitness, if you're into adventure, if you want to do something wild but still want to keep your health in check, there is a new podcast in town, a podcast focusing on obstacle course race in the Middle East. The podcast is called the Race Pace Podcast. So check out the Race Pace Podcast across all leading platforms. And the Race Pace Podcast is a peer-to-peer community-driven podcast where they talk all about obstacle course race in the Middle East, from Sandstorm to Spartan Race, from Tough Mudder to Desert Warrior Challenge, and also the Government Gov Games, and quite a lot more. The podcast has interviews with athletes locally and internationally to get inside scoop on how athletes prepare for obstacle course race. In the podcast, they also talk about interesting stories on why they are motivated to do obstacle course race. And that's not all. They also plan to release 7 NFTs, and these NFTs are no ordinary. These NFTs will represent every emirate in the UAE. And listen, guys, these NFTs are going to be absolutely massive. So do one thing, go to Spotify, go to iTunes, go to any leading podcasting platform and search for Rise in the Obstacle Course Race podcast. And finally, guys, not your keys, not your crypto. If you have dabbled with cryptocurrencies and now are seriously getting to protect your cryptocurrencies, there is no better way to protect it by using a hardware wallet. And this is where Ledger Wallet kicks in.
and Ledger wallets are hardware cryptocurrency wallets made by Ledger, a company headquartered in Paris, France, and Ledger's hardware wallets are multi-currency wallets that are used to store private keys for cryptocurrencies offline. And Ledger offers two hardware wallets, the Ledger Nano and Ledger Nano X wallets. They are world-class experts with extensive crypto security backgrounds. They continuously look for vulnerabilities in Ledger products in a constant effort to improve the level of security. Now, in today's world, securing these digital assets is a critical challenge, and this is where Ledger kicks in. So click the link below to buy your hardware wallet and support this podcast. It is a brilliant way to support this podcast. So what are you waiting for? The link is in the show notes below.
Now guys, since we've taken care of that, let's kickstart by looking at the global cryptocurrency market. The listen guys, since the last 24 hours, the global cryptocurrency market is pumped up by well over $100 billion, and the global cryptocurrency market as of today is $1.75 trillion, and since the last 24 hours, it is up by 5.09%. And guys, if you look at the total cryptocurrency market volume since the last 24 hours, it is at $73.11 billion. And listen to this, guys. Since the last 24 hours, it is up by 62.41%. And guys, listen, this is only because of news and anticipation of a Bitcoin spot ETF approval, isn't it? Now, so far as the volume of DeFi is concerned, guys, unfortunately, the numbers are not looking good at all. And I'll definitely go ahead and touch base on the 24-hour volume of decentralized exchange. But if you look at the total volume on DeFi since the last 24 hours, it is at $7.46 billion. And DeFi, guys, as of today is accounting for 10.20% of the total crypto market 24-hour volume. And so far as the total value locked is concerned, it is at $55.70 billion, and Lido, guys, is still dominating with $22.18 billion. And listen to this, guys. The decentralized to centralized exchange volume has actually gone down to 11.97%, which just means one thing, guys, that since the last 24 hours, a lot of centralized exchanges have been used, and most likely a lot of stable coins has been used in order to go ahead and purchase a lot of Bitcoin. The global cryptocurrency market snapshot is absolutely crystal clear that since the last 24 hours, a lot of centralized exchange has been used in order to go ahead and buy a lot of Bitcoin. And guys, we'll definitely go ahead and check if stablecoins has been used, because to be honest, guys, the volume of stablecoins is also pumped up. But before that, let me quickly run through the 24-hour volume of decentralized exchanges, because surprisingly, guys, Uniswap's volume has gone down by more than 50% of its average given day, and as of today, it is at $460 million. PancakeSwap, guys, is at number 2nd at $394.96 million. Orca is at number 3rd at $246.54 million. Radium, guys, is at number 4th at $100.96 million, and finally Core Finance at $154.70 million. Now look, guys, ideally, in such situation, the volume of decentralized exchanges should have actually doubled or quadrupled. Unfortunately, it looks like the world is not ready for decentralization. Now let's quickly look at what is going on in the world of stablecoins, because the volume is $63.51 billion, and looks like a lot of Tether USDT has been used in order to go ahead and buy a lot of Bitcoin, because Tether USDT's volume is $56.61 billion, followed by Circle USDC at $6.54 billion, and Tron USD, guys, its volume is almost double of an average given day at $316 million. And as of today, guys, 2nd of January, stablecoins is accounting for 86.86% of the total cryptocurrency market volume. Now, guys, listen. Now, one of the biggest changes that you can see so far as the global market cap is concerned is that the market cap of Bitcoin is almost pumped up by well over $50 billion since the last 24 hours. And as of today, it is at $881 billion, whereas Ethereum, guys, its market cap is pumped up by just $10 billion. And as of today, it is at $283 billion. And if you look at the 24-hour trading volume, Bitcoin's 24-hour trading volume is definitely pumped up to the roof. And as of today, it is at $36.8 billion. And unfortunately, Ethereum's 24-hour trading volume is 1/3 of Bitcoin's 24-hour trading volume at only $12.07 billion. And guys, if you look at the dominance, Bitcoin's dominance is pumped up at 51%, whereas Ethereum's dominance is also pumped up at 16.50%. Now, guys, in today's episode, let me very quickly run through the top 5 privacy coins. And guys, in my episode yesterday, I talked about the unfortunate news that OKX has decided to delist a lot of the privacy coins, such as Monero, Zcash, and Dash as well. So let me go ahead and run through the top 5 privacy coins, and I'm talking about its market cap. And the number one, guys, is no surprise. It's Monero, and its market cap is $3.11 billion. Zcash is number 2nd, and its market cap is $400 million. The third one, guys, is Mars Network, and its market cap is $306 million. Decred, guys, is at number 4th at $248 million, and finally Harmony at $274 million. Then look, guys, when you talk about privacy, we talk about self-sovereign identity, we talk about zero-knowledge proof, but unfortunately, guys, people are just not using privacy coins. I hate to say it, but this whole notion about privacy, self-sovereign identity is just a marketing tool by CEOs, CTOs, and founders to get more funding from venture capitalists and investors. That is unfortunately what the fact is. Now look, guys, since 2023, a lot of news is surrounding Bitcoin spot ETF. So before we look at the king of all kings, that is the price of Bitcoin, let me very briefly go ahead and explain what a Bitcoin spot ETF is. And I've got this information, guys, via www.etf.com. So let me very briefly go ahead and explain what is a Bitcoin spot ETF. Because the spot Bitcoin ETF, guys, is an exchange traded fund that tracks the price of Bitcoin, and the term spot does actually refer to the actual immediate purchase and ownership of the underlying asset, which in this case is Bitcoin. This means, guys, that the value of spot Bitcoin ETF will be directly correlated to the price of Bitcoin, and this is something similar which happens to a gold ETF, because like a physically backed gold ETF, when an investor buys shares of spot Bitcoin ETF, they are essentially buying a portion of the Bitcoin held by the fund, and this means that the investors do not own Bitcoin themselves, but instead own a share of the ETF that represents a certain amount of Bitcoin. Now it's really important to understand, guys, the key difference between Bitcoin futures ETF and spot Bitcoin ETF, because Bitcoin futures ETF definitely tricked a lot of people in the anticipation that the price would pump up to the moon, and that happened during 2020. And at that point of time, guys, the price of Bitcoin did actually reach a new all-time high. But at that point of time, what people were waiting for a spot Bitcoin ETF, and with BlackRock getting into the game, there is a very high possibility that a spot Bitcoin ETF will be approved. So let me go ahead and quickly explain the key difference between spot Bitcoin ETF versus a Bitcoin futures ETF. So investors, guys, looking for a way to gain direct exposure to Bitcoin without the hassle of setting up a cryptocurrency exchange account may actually prefer to invest in spot Bitcoin ETF after the US Security and Exchange Commission approval. However, guys, for investors looking for a low-cost way to trade Bitcoin, or let's say they're concerned with regulatory risk, a Bitcoin future ETF may be a better choice. So let me go ahead and further explain some of the key comparison between spot Bitcoin ETF versus Bitcoin futures ETF. Now, so far spot Bitcoin ETF is concerned, they typically hold Bitcoin in a secure digital wallet, and investors own ETF shares representing ownership of actual Bitcoin held by the ETF, and they offer ways to invest in Bitcoin price movements without holding the cryptocurrency directly, and they provide liquidity and easy access through stock exchanges as well. Now, so far as Bitcoin futures-based ETF is concerned, what happens is people invest in Bitcoin futures contracts rather than holding the asset, and price movements, guys, are tied to the performance of Bitcoin futures, not the actual spot price. And there are also many additional risks, such as contago and backwardation, which can actually impact the returns. So the big question, guys, is how does a spot Bitcoin ETF actually work? So let me go ahead and quickly explain how it works. A spot Bitcoin ETF tracks the price of Bitcoin by holding Bitcoin and by following the same creation, redemption processes as other ETFs, that is exchange traded fund. This means, guys, that when an investor buys shares of a spot Bitcoin ETF, they are essentially buying shares of a fund that actually owns Bitcoin, and this would actually allow investors to gain access to Bitcoin without having to buy and store cryptocurrency themselves. Now it's possible, guys, that the SEC will require issuers of the new Bitcoin spot ETF to employ a cash redemption model, and rather than traditional in-kind redemption model for the funds, but to investors, the end result is the same. And that's one of the reasons, guys, SEC did actually have several meetings with various Bitcoin applications as in it. So it's really critical to understand, guys, that a spot Bitcoin ETF works in a similar way to other ETFs. So when you buy shares of a spot Bitcoin ETF, you're buying a piece of the fund's portfolio of Bitcoin, and the price of your shares will go up and down with the price of Bitcoin, and now you can sell your shares at any time without even directly holding Bitcoin. So that is some basic level understanding of spot Bitcoin ETF. Now listen, guys, this might sound great, but let me go ahead and explain some of the pros and some of the cons of Bitcoin spot ETF, because spot Bitcoin ETF, guys, offers multiple benefits to investors, including ease of access, direct exposure to the price of Bitcoin, and potential for price appreciation as well. However, There are potential drawbacks such as price volatility, regulatory risks, and high fees. Now let me go ahead and highlight some of the pros of spot Bitcoin ETF, and then let me go ahead and highlight some of the cons of spot Bitcoin ETF. Now so far as the pros is concerned, it does offer ease of access and direct exposure, and spot Bitcoin ETF, guys, will allow investors to buy and sell Bitcoin through a traditional brokerage account, just like they would buy and sell any other stock or ETF, and this will make it easier for investors to get exposure to Bitcoin without having to set up a cryptocurrency exchange account. And so far as liquidity is concerned, spot Bitcoin ETF will increase the liquidity of the Bitcoin market. This means that it will be easier for investors to buy and sell Bitcoin, which could lead to more stable prices. And guys, listen, there's regulatory approval, which is a massive deal. So far, spot Bitcoin ETF is concerned, isn't it? And the US Security and Exchange Commission approval of a spot Bitcoin ETF can be a sign that the regulator is becoming more comfortable with the cryptocurrency market. And guys, there's also potential of price appreciation, and Bitcoin, as we know, is one of the best performing assets in recent years, and there is a potential for it to continue to appreciate in the near future. These were some of the pros, guys. Let me go ahead and highlight some of the cons as well, because look, volatility is one of the biggest drawbacks of Bitcoin, isn't it? And Bitcoin is an extremely volatile asset, and the price of spot Bitcoin ETF could fluctuate absolutely wickedly and wildly, and there are also regulatory risks, and the regulatory landscape for cryptocurrency is constantly changing, and there is a risk that the US Security and Exchange Commission could change its rules governing crypto and other digital currencies in the near future as well. And the next point, guys, is regarding fees, because spot Bitcoin ETFs may have higher fees than other types of ETFs, such as index-based stock ETFs, and this is because they are more complex to manage, and crypto ETFs also generally have higher fees compared to directly holding the cryptocurrency itself. So that was some basic level information, guys, regarding spot Bitcoin ETF. Now what you can do is go to ETF.com and you can read through some more bits and pieces of information on the website, because the website does actually give out information on what is the ProShares Bitcoin Strategy ETF, also called as BITO, and also the timeline of Security and Exchange Commission approval for spot Bitcoin ETF and quite a lot of other. So definitely a brilliant website. Now guys, let's look at the king of all kings, that is Bitcoin, and right now guys, it is at $44,992, and listen guys, what I'm hoping is the price to cross the $45,000 mark, and then it will gradually go down. These are my honest thoughts, and the answer is pretty simple, guys, because the volume in DeFi is not looking good, and I'm pretty much sure a lot of them do want to make some profit out of Bitcoin, and once they have made some profit, I'm pretty much sure they're going to go ahead and start dumping some of the Bitcoin. Now since the last 24 hours though, it is actually up by 5.39%, and since the last 7 days, it is up by 5.51%. Ethereum, guys, is at $2,359. Since the last 24 hours, it is up by 2.29%, and since the last 7 days, it is up by 5.22%. Solana, guys, once again is at number 3rd, and as of today, it is at $108, and since the last 24 hours, it is up by 3.26%, and since the last 7 days, it is down by 3.23%. Now look, guys, here's the craziest thing. If you go to CoinMarketCap, it still shows as Binance as number 3rd, but if you actually look at the market cap, Solana's market cap is much higher than Binance BNB Chain's market cap. I'm hoping that on the website it does show Solana at number 3rd and Binance BNB Chain at number 4th. Now listen guys, because of the price of Bitcoin coming up to the moon, in pre-market trading on 2nd of January, the stock prices of MicroStrategy and also cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase experienced a significant surge following the rise in Bitcoin pricing over $44,900 and the approaching decision deadline for Bitcoin ETF on 10th of January. Coinbase did actually saw an increase of 6%, reaching a price of $184.99, while MicroStrategy stock witnessed a notable 9.14% rise, reaching $689.11. And guys, just last week I talked about how MicroStrategy has been benefited the most by having Bitcoin as the reserves, isn't it? And looks like the bet that Michael Saylor did actually take did turn out to be beneficial for MicroStrategy and also for the investors as well. But listen guys, so far as the Bitcoin Spot ETF news is concerned, there's a really important update, and what I'd really recommend you to do is go to Twitter and follow Eric Balkanis, and he's the senior ETF analyst for Bloomberg, and all of the mainstream media and cryptocurrency media also tends to use his tweets, and then they write articles. Now what is a bit surprising guys, he has actually mentioned via Twitter that the new grayscale amendment has just dropped and clear language on cash only is mentioned, but there is still no associated partner named, and he's actually put out the official filings, and what he has mentioned that there are just blanks where there should be actually names, and what he's really mentioned in that tweet that is really not sure because the US Security and Exchange Commission wants to see the name and they have been pretty cocksure about having one. So it is a bit strange, guys, that Grayscale has not mentioned an associated partner. Absolutely strange. So does this mean that a Grayscale Bitcoin spot ETF may not be approved? I'm definitely thinking that, but we'll just have to wait and see. So what I'd really recommend you to do is, guys, follow his tweets and update so we get a better understanding of the potential approval of a Bitcoin spot ETF. Now, guys, let's discuss some unfortunate news, and that is regarding a hack that actually took place on the 1st of Jan, and cross-chain bridge initiative Orbit Chain fell victim to a cyber attack, resulting in illicit withdrawal of over $80 million from its bridge, and the project guards disclosed that an unidentified access occurred on Orbit Bridge, leading to the identification of approximately $84.5 million dispersed across multiple wallet addresses associated with the attacker, and the pilfered funds consist of 26,741.6 Ethereum or ETH, and they were held across 5 addresses, equivalent to around $64.5 million at the current prices, along with nearly $20 million worth of stable coins, that is DAI, that were stored in 3 other addresses. Now, it's really important to note, guys, that despite the breach, Orbit Chain reassured the public in a tweet that the stolen funds remain unmoved. So what I'd really recommend you to do is, guys, in the show notes below, I've gone ahead and mentioned the tweet, and if you want to follow up, definitely worth reading the series of tweets, and they've given crystal clear guidelines as well. Now, guys, let's discuss some news regarding the biggest cryptocurrency exchange of the world, and that is regarding Binance. And as we know, guys, the drama regarding Binance and the founder and the former CEO of Binance, that is CZ, he's right now in the US, and he did put out a petition that he wants to go ahead and leave the US, and he does want to come into UAE. But unfortunately, guys, a federal judge has once more rejected Binance's founder CZ's plea for authorization to travel overseas while he awaits sentencing for criminal charges in the US. And this decision, guys, is rendered by Judge Richard Jones of the United States District Court for Western District of Washington. And to be honest, guys, this represents the second instance in which CZ's request to travel abroad has been denied, and prosecutors are content that permitting the former Binance CEO, that is CZ, to travel posed a flight risk. Now, guys, let's discuss some news, and that is regarding the legend Sam Bankman-Fried and the former CEO and founder of FTX. And the federal prosecutors, guys, have declared that Sam Bankman-Fried will not be subjected to a second criminal trial, citing concerns that it will only impede the prompt resolution of the case. And they contend that the initial trial yielded ample evidence of Sam Bankman-Fried's financial crimes, rendering a second trial superfluous. Now, does this mean, guys, a second trial may not happen? Most likely, yes. But listen, guys, I'm just going to throw out a wild theory out there. Could it be possible in the second trial there's some indication or some reveal regarding his donation to extreme left-leaning administration? To be honest, guys, I wouldn't be surprised that is the case. And so far as the first trial is concerned, it is important to know that Sam Bankman-Fried was found guilty of wire fraud, securities fraud, and money laundering in November 2022, and that was because of significant losses for FTX and Alameda research investors, isn't it? So definitely unfortunate news. Now listen, guys, if you're a lawyer, you definitely need to go ahead and check what the loopholes are, because in the letter, the prosecutor suggested a second trial would actually delay a timely and just resolution of the case, and the government's lawyers also argued that the original case against Sam Bankman-Fried has already provided ample evidence that the former executive committed a rash of financial crimes during the tenure of FTX, making a second trial largely unnecessary according to the filing. Now, this is definitely an unfortunate situation, but listen, guys, this is what I think. Because Sam Bankman-Fried was heavily donating to left-leaning administration, and the US Security and Exchange Commission is extremely left-leaning and from the Biden regime, could it be possible because of the collapse of FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried, they've gone ahead and started attacking Binance and CZ? Most likely, yes. And guys, listen, you need to go ahead and look at the tweet that CZ actually put out, where he did actually state that he does not want to go ahead and buy the shares of Coinbase. And one of the craziest and spookiest thing happened, guys, when he did actually put out that tweet. Sam Bankman-Fried's girlfriend did actually reply and did give out a really random figure that they are more than happy and willing to go ahead and buy those shares at a specific price. And that was what actually started the collapse of FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried. And listen, guys, I have this very strong feeling when Netflix releases a documentary I'm pretty much sure the Netflix documentary opening scene will be CC's tweet regarding FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried. Definitely an unfortunate news for the cryptocurrency world nonetheless. So those were the cryptocurrency news, guys, from Crypto and Coffee at 8. Now let's look at two news from Dubai, UAE and the Middle East, and both the news, guys, has to do with Metaverse. And the first one is that Dubai's Electricity and Water Authority, also called as DEWA, elevates clean energy leadership with Metaverse innovation, cause an immersive virtual reality experience is unveiled at Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum Solar Park Innovation Center. And the Metaverse feature offers a unique virtual aerial tour showcasing the solar complex's scale and infrastructure. And DEWA's commitment, guys, aligns with sustainability goals and positions Dubai as a hub for environmentally conscious ventures. And the Metaverse tour aims to attract environmentally conscious business and talent, and DEWA's strategic use of cutting-edge experience reinforces its role as an employer of choices for innovators. And Gaza Solar Park Metaverse tour aligns with Dubai's 51% green economy vision by 2050. And Gaza Metaverse experience is expected to increase footfall at the innovation center, generating additional revenue, and ticket pricing for the immersive experience range from 50 to 80 dirhams, contributing to DEWA's financial sustainability. And community engagement is enhanced, more than existing 40,000 annual visitors to the center. And DEWA, guys, aims to educate the youth on sustainability solutions through engaging formats like virtual reality. And the Metaverse launch coincides with completion of Phase V of Solar Park, reinforcing Dubai's clean energy credential. So definitely positive news. And DEWA's approach, guys, supports localization efforts, aligning with the Make It in the Emirates initiative for a green economy. And virtual presentation to virtual reality enhances DEWA's brand visibility, facilitating project contracting and collaborations. And the Metaverse experience serves as a catalyst within Dubai's solar industry ecosystem, inspiring innovation and collaboration. And DEWA's solar power Metaverse has global potential, catalyzing deals and collaborations in the clean energy investment circuit. And international exposure stimulates discussion on new models for public-private clean energy financing and operations. And DEWA's strategic use of the Metaverse exemplifies long-term thinking, contributing to sustainable economic growth and reinforcing Dubai's leadership in climate action. Definitely positive news, not just for the climate action, but also for the Metaverse world as well. Now, guys, let's discuss second news that also has to do with Metaverse, and the news essentially is that Mada Capital in the UAE invest in the growth fund for global Web3 Metaverse platform Creta's ecosystem expansion. So let me go ahead and give us some more information, because Mada Capital, guys, is a major UAE financial institution, and they have partnered with Creta, which is a global Web3 Metaverse gaming platform. And Mada Capital, guys, manages assets in the hundreds of millions and has operated in 15 plus IPOs, and they aim to lead the global advancement of Web3 and gaming Metaverse industry. And Creta, guys, focuses on a comprehensive gaming entertainment platform, and they're aiming to form a coalition of world-class developers, creators and producers as well. And Creta's growth fund, which is backed by Mada Capital, aims to attract Web3 developers and content creators, and the goal is to create synergies in PR, marketing and communication, and community outreach for the growth of Creta's ecosystem. And Mada Capital commits to achieve participation in fundraising for Creta's growth fund, including multi-billion-dollar investments, and gaming legend that is Yoshika Okamoto and producer Thomas Wu on board, with more expected influential developers. And the partnership aims to accelerate the expansion of Creta's content, developer partnership, and AAA title acquisition. And Creta, guys, is headquartered in the UAE, with offices in Japan and Armenia, and it is developed by a Korean company called as Diverse, and they utilize something called as Locust Chain, which is a high-performance public blockchain to reduce infrastructure costs, and they want to implement a supersized multiverse with photorealistic visual quality. In collaboration with industry veterans that is Okamoto and Thomas Wu, recognizes Creta's potential in it, and Salah Al-Wahib, chairman of Mada Capital, expressed his excitement about dominating the Web3 gaming and Metaverse platform market. And Creta's growth fund is supported by Mada's Capital large funds, royal families and high net worthy individuals. And Creta's company, guys, are four parts, that is Creta Multiverse, Creta Game Platform, also called a CGP, Creta Studio, and Creta Super Club. So definitely a massive deal. And Creta's Multiverse, guys, is a one-stop shop for various content services and ecosystem. And Creta Super Club is a decentralized community service with NFT rights to clubs and posts. And Creta, guys, aims to be the only Web3 platform with photorealistic visuals and an ultra-large-scale multiverse. So definitely positive news. And what I'm going to be doing, guys, on Friday, I'm going to be releasing a Metaverse Everything podcast. So in that episode, I'll definitely go and give out some more bits and pieces of information. And I'll try to interview the founders and the team of Creta as well. So those were the news, guys. I'm Crypto and Coffee 88 from Blockchain DXB. In case if you guys have any feedback or suggestions, drop me an email to info@blockchaindxb.com. Check out my website, that is www.blockchaindxb.com. And also check out my other website, area2071.com, that talks everything about Metaverse. And guys, if you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating, and share the word across. Now for the next few minutes, it's going to be an Ask Me Anything series, where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. So let's kick started with the Ask Me Anything series. Hey everyone, it's Josh from Blockchain DXB. You're listening to the Ask Me Anything series, where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, Metaverse. I have a question by Bede who asks, do you think Solana will remain top 3 or will Binance BNB chain climb to number 3 again? To be honest, Bede, it is really too early to tell, but looking at the partnership that Solana did last year, I wouldn't be surprised if Solana remains in the top 3, at least for the next 3 months or so. Now look, 2023 has been one of the worst years for Binance, and I believe in 2020 Binance had a similar worst year as well, but the following year, Binance restructured everything and they definitely rose well above. Could it be possible that they do that in 2024? I really am not sure, but what I think is this, Bede. I think in the first 3 months Solana most likely will be in the top 3, and based on the developments that actually take place in the next quarter, then I'll be able to go ahead and assess and check if Binance BNB chain will go back to number 3. Now listen, in the second and third quarter of 2023, I used to often say, if you look at the price of Binance BNB chain, and if you were to compare it with the decentralized apps that are working, the numbers just did not make any sense. And at that point of time, I was extremely worried about what is going on in Binance BNB chain. And mind you, this was before the US Security and Exchange Commission was aggressively going after Binance and CZ, because the numbers were trying to move way too perfect and the numbers did not match up with what is going on so far as the dApps is concerned. And I got this impression that there is a centralized entity or person or individual or group of people that are actually manipulating the price of Binance BNB chain, and it used to move too perfect. Now that's not to say that Solana is not managed by a centralized entity. I definitely do think that Solana is an extremely centralized project or protocol. Now keeping all these things in mind, I do think at least for the first 3 months, Solana most likely will be in the top 3, and based on the developments that actually take place, it's going to be really interesting to see if Cardano does actually take place, or will there be a new blockchain protocol such as Avalanche? Because listen, in my episode yesterday, I talked about Avalanche. They have gone ahead and purchased quite a lot of the meme coins as well, and I was a bit worried regarding that news because it does raise questions regarding insider trading as well. So it's going to be really interesting to see if we do get some notorious activity in the world of Solana as well. And mind you, the only reason why Solana is in the top 3 is because of the meme coin frenzy, and that is something which is done by Avalanche right now as well. So I really am hoping we did not find out any notorious activity in Solana. In the past, we have identified several notorious activities in the world of Solana. They've made a conscious decision several times to go ahead and stop producing block for well over 14 to 16 hours. So those are my honest thoughts, but it's going to be really interesting to see if there are any developments more to do from a partnership point of view. Let's say if they have some partnership with, let's say, eBay or Amazon or Walmart, that'll be an absolute game changer. And that could be for even for Solana or Binance BNB chain, and that'll actually put them back on number 3. This is what I think, but definitely an interesting question. And that's about all, guys, from the Ask Me Anything series in Blockchain DXB. In case if you guys have any feedback or suggestions, drop me an email to info@blockchaindxb.com. Check out my website, www.blockchaindxb.com, and also check out my other website, area2071.com, that talks everything about Metaverse. And guys, if you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating, and share the word across. And remember, Monday to Thursdays, 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m., we have Crypto and Coffee at 8, where we cover top news and information pertaining to Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, Metaverse, and how the series of episodes under Crypto and Coffee at 8 works is, we usually cover some top news and information pertaining to the price of cryptocurrencies, some major breaking news, occasionally short and sweet news as well, news that has an impact in the cryptocurrency world. The other two news and information is related to Dubai, UAE and Middle East in the world of Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi and Metaverse. And what you're listening to right now is the Ask Me Anything series, where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi and Metaverse. So thanks so much for listening, guys, and have a nice one. Bye-bye.